On today's episode, we invite Drew Rohaley from the Last Row podcast to put Ghostbusters 2 to the ultimate test. Being miserable and treating other people like dirt is every New Yorker's God-given right. Welcome to the Nostalgia Test Podcast, the show where two longtime friends put their mainstream pop culture past to the ultimate test, the Nostalgia Test.
You nailed that one, Dan.
I nailed that one, everyone. Welcome to the Nostalgia Test Podcast. I'm Dan Dissinger here in LA, and I'm here with my longtime friend and co-host, Manny Coelho. They're in New York. Manny, the old intro is back.
Up?
I'm trying to bring that info drop back, but okay. Manny, how you doing?
I'm good. This is it's a season, a spooky season of sequels. Say that 5 times fast. Spooky season of sequels. So before we get into our guest, I just want to say thank you for making me watch this. I'm not sure how I feel. That's the first time you've thanked me in a while for watching. Well, it's because it's been a while, and you reminded me when you brought this up. You reminded me that I actually remembered enjoying this movie. And then you know what I didn't do? Did you watch the first one?
First? No, I didn't watch the first one first. But
yeah, I kind of wish I did that because I did that with Hocus Pocus, and then we did the Hocus Pocus 2. So that I was able to like right away, distinguish which one I liked more. And now I don't remember. And after watching this, it got a little fuzzy. But anyways, here we go, guys. We're here. Before I go into my tangents, we're here with a guest. This is a guest episode.
Yes, we have a great guest here. Looking forward to talking about Ghostbusters 2. When you look at the screenshot, there'll be a photo somewhere on Instagram or something. You'll see right there in the background. There's an Easter egg right back there. Vigo is right behind. Vigo Rohaley.
It's Vigo.
From the Last Row podcast. Drew, thank you so much for being here.
You were like the buzzing of flies to him.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for being here, Drew.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's an honor to be part of the Nostalgia Test podcast. You guys are awesome. I've listened to a bunch of episodes. I was telling you guys before, I love your Mrs.Doubtfire episode. It's amazing. If you guys haven't listened to it, go listen to it. I'm a big Ghostbusters 2 fan, and let me tell you, I'm excited to be here talking about Vigo the Carpathian with you guys, the Scourge of Moldavia.
So when you say you're a big fan of the 2, do you like it better than the first one?
So I look, I'm on the record of saying this. It's not a better movie by any means. The first one is absolutely a better movie, but sometimes I find 2 more fun in some ways because it's kind of stupider and it's kind of sillier. And yes. Because of that, it's more fun. And it's got Vigo. How do you not like a haunted painting? I mean, that's awesome, right? It's a little bit cooler than Gozer, in my opinion. But I don't know. I don't know what you guys think.
I think I have to agree with that because I do have to say that I do remember when Dan brought it up, I was like, yo, it was the slime, the dances, and I remember having fun with this movie. And I do agree that the first one, it was better, but this one's just a lot more fun. A lot more fun. It laughs at itself almost. I'll go right away. I was skipping right in the middle. Even what they're wearing, they're not wearing the same suits. They went and bought a patch that says that's 2. Holding the 2 on there. I'm like, what is the point of that?
Dude, I wrote that
before we get too deep. Drew, please tell everyone about your podcast and stuff. Because I have a feeling we're going, but
this is going to be fun.
Give them a little,
So I co-host a movie podcast called the Last Row podcast, and it's me and my best friend. We grew up in the 90s, a lot like you guys, a lot of the same type of stuff. So that's why I think I gravitate and resonate with your show so much. But we overanalyze sort of rewatchable movies, mostly from the 80s to the 2010s. And we sometimes say it's all the movies that you forgot you loved. And we try to use the movie as sort of a springboard to talk about all these random things, these tangential things, in our Time Cop episode, we broke down the time travel physics and that time travel roller coaster thing. And we tried to analyze that thing and what that even meant. Like, it's hard to describe. We have like a villain scale that we patent we throw all of our movie villains on this thing. We have some categories. I made some trading cards for them. Guys, check out our website, thelastroPodcast.com. Awesome. I made them in the style of the 90s Marvel cards. So I copied them exactly. But I used to work at a movie theater. My co-host used to work at a rental store. So between the two of us, we saw pretty much everything back in the day. And, we've done a lot of like action movies, Bloodsport, Roadhouse. Oh, God. But then we've also done the other opposite side of like 50 Shades of Grey and all that kind of random stuff. So definitely check us out, thelastroPodcast.com. And thanks for letting me plug the show here. But definitely excited to talk to you guys. I'm a big Ghostbusters fan, so I'm pumped.
Loved it.
I mean, I worked at Hollywood Video. I was the assistant manager at Hollywood Video. I mean, you just like you just take movies out and you just watch them. But like, if people go back and listen to the Bill and Ted episode that we did, the first Bill and Ted episode, there was a big problem with the time travel right in the beginning. We had a whole conversation. I broke down just watching it in the first 30 seconds. I had to like pause the movie and my brain exploded. But like, I feel like, I just want to go back to something you said about like Ghostbusters 2, like that this one was more fun, but you have Vigo, and then Ghostbusters 1, you have Gozer. I feel like with this one, you have Vigo and he's there all the time. So with Gozer, you don't know what it is. Gozer's just there as like this thing, and then you see sort of Gozer at the end. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, that's what we're afraid of, this gymnast.
with the 80s like moosed up hair and
like bubbles on them. Like I didn't know what it was, but with this, it's like very specific. It's like, here's the painting, here's the river of slime, here's this stuff, so there's like, it's very much more like, this is what you're supposed to be scared of. This is the threat. This is the threat right here.
Yeah, I feel like, and Vigo, to me, you could argue that he's almost like underutilized in the movie. Like he doesn't get out of the painting much, And
thank God.
Like, have you guys seen the picture? You guys have definitely seen the picture of the behind the scenes where like the actor's like sweeping the floor, and it's like Vigo the Carpathian sweeping the floor of the set. It just looks so ridiculous to me. And like, I don't know, I need more Vigo in my life. Like,
the thing about every frame of Vigo was like, seemed like the camera was glitching. Like, it was like the worst special effects, even worse than the first one. And I was like, wasn't this years later? Like, why are we watching? Like, why is this that terrible? It was like almost like every time it was like delayed, I was like, and like one of like the times where like his face shrinks in, and there's like you could like find that like effect on Instagram where it's just like a shrunken in, like almost kind of looks like the
pig face thing.
Pig face, yeah. And I'm like, what was the point of all this? Is like, oh, we have this graphic, let's use it. I was like, that's how they used to edit like wedding videos. Like, what was this? And then I was like, why aren't they using his like the actual actor more? Like, weird. Like, did they just not have the budget?
No, the movie cost like 30 or 40 million dollars in 1989 to make. That's a lot of money in 1989.
Yeah.
Like, you're talking a huge box office like film. So they could have had more in the special effects. It sort of still just looked like Ghostbusters 1.
Yeah.
In many ways.
Yeah. But it was 5 years later.
Yeah, I wanted
like I was expecting more.
I have a lot to talk about that.
I was expecting more technology at that point. Like, it's 5 years later. Like, what? Why are we not seeing? Like, I don't know. Like, was the film 5 years later?
It was. Was it? We got the slime blowers. I mean, that's upping the technology.
Oh, that's
right?
true.
So you get to. Did you guys have that stuff as a kid? See, I had all the toys when I was a kid. I had the proton pack. I had like the slime blower. I had one of those things.
You had the slime blower?
Yeah, it didn't actually blow slime, but it was pretty awesome, right? And like, I still have a lot of the figures right now, and it's like I kept them, and I'm glad. But like, do you guys think? So do you guys think this is, like I was saying, I don't think it's better than the first. No, but it's in some ways it's more fun. Like, do you guys think it is? Like, it gets a bad reputation because it was more kiddie, right? That was like a thing. It's like, oh, it's a kiddie.
I mean, it opens up kiddie, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it opens up like them at a party.
Yeah.
Like, not even make. Well, no,
it opens up.
That's true. It opens up.
Yes. Kid almost gets run over by a car
with the remote control stroller there.
Yeah, the remote control stroller. So it does open up in a way. I feel like scarier. I thought it was scarier than the first one. It would open up scarier than the first one. Where in the first one, the woman walks down the library and then the books, and then she sees something that we don't see. Where in this one, it kind of was more, I felt more tense. But the idea that it's 5 years later, New York has like wrote off the Ghostbusters. Everyone's suing them. They have nothing. This is like Rocky losing all his money and no one giving a fuck to help him. They were just like, he saved the world from the Cold War from 4 to 5. Ghostbusters saves the world, and it's like, fuck these guys.
They needed a fall guy, man. They needed the fall guys. Like that mayor's up for re-election.
Yeah. I think this is like a really big thing about like, I mean, the whole movie is kind of making fun of New York and like how New Yorkers treated each other then, or even now. But like, like it opens up with like yelling in New York. Like there's like they like pumped up the volume of those, like them like yelling at each other in the street and stuff like that. And I'm like, what is the point of this scene? And it's like, oh, you're setting up that like New Yorkers are assholes, and we're gonna like, we're just gonna show you an exaggerated version of what it's like in New York. So then that would play on the fact that like, they don't give a shit about the Ghostbusters anymore. Like, oh yeah, they saved our lives, but that was 5 years ago. Like, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We're in New York. Things move fast here.
New York.
New York minute.
Get with it.
The New York second. Yeah, there you go. Like, that was 5 years ago. Like, who cares? Like, what do you now? Come on.
Oh my god!
Well, it's funny because like, so I'm from outside of Philly, and I think Philly gets a bad rap too, right? It's similar. I don't know.
Oh, don't listen to a Rocky Balboa episode.
I know, right?
Oh man, you guys are doing well in sports too, man. You guys,
congratulations.
Well, that's the thing, because and my co-host and I, my best friend and a bunch of my friends, like we used to joke because I mean Philadelphia, it's like Negadelphia, right? Like it's so negative and like there's all this like negative emotion. Like the Eagles lose a game and it's like the end of the world. Like the world is on fire, and we literally have a joke like, dude, it's the river of slime underneath the city of Philadelphia, because like anything bad goes wrong, everybody hates each other. And like right now we're riding high. Wait till the Eagles lose one game, it's gonna be over. It's like,
oh yeah, I mean you guys, and you even got Philadelphia.
Phillies going to the World Series.
The Crew's playing NYCFC, my team, in the conference final, the semifinals to get in for MLS. Like you guys are killing it. So like you guys almost like hugging each other right now. Like
now we got blasted by the positively charged slime.
Yeah. Oh my god.
We're with Janos in the end here.
Oh god.
Exactly.
They opened. I'll agree with you, Manny. It was really sad to see them singing in that birthday party.
Yeah, I was
literally the real Proton packs. Like they came in there with nuclear reactors on their back. Yeah. Everyone should be dead after that. Like it should.
There should be a horror movie. There should be like Ghostbusters 3 horror movie where it's like people turned into zombies because they've been like next to the Ghostbusters. Like the Ghostbusters really just fallout. Like they basically created like I Am Legend. Like they're the ones that did it.
Yeah, how much are you guys willing to pay to have the Ghostbusters come to your kid's birthday party? Because I want to know, like, how much were they charging for that? Is it like $50? I mean, they were rock bottom here. This was
they were.
This is what gets me. This gets me to a point. Like, Winston needs a whole movie. That man has had to deal with these assholes. Like he is like they all like Ray has a bookstore. How's he afford a bookstore if they're being sued? Why is Egon being allowed to do any sort of scientific research, and Bateman has a show? What is Winston doing other than birthday parties?
Yeah,
come on. Like he gets to like. There's no story ever for him. I hate that.
The best part about it,
the best actor.
The best part about it is that like, so they're at the party in which like other people could have played
2 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, and other people could be playing the Ghostbusters. Like I used to get hired to play Batman at children's parties, like when I was working for a DJ company. Like these guys are the actual Ghostbusters.
They're the Ghostbusters in their broke down car,
and they're not. The kids didn't even care.
They want He-Man, man.
They're like, give me He-Man. Like,
give me He-Man, a fictional character. You literally battled
a ghost.
a satanic entity like trying to destroy us.
See, this is where they went wrong. What they needed to do is they needed to bring Slimer, right? Because like Slimer is kind of their friend, right? At the end, like doesn't like Slimer like live with them?
He's like the pet in this, and they said it was like as a result of the cartoon, right? Because the cartoon popularized it. Because in the first one, he didn't even have a name.
No,
it's like they did it. But you're right, he is sort of like the pet. He's like the dog of the firehouse.
Yeah, like so they should have brought him to the party. Like they would have gotten paid a lot more of like all of a sudden they like put on the show that they're like capturing Slimer, you know? Like, Slimer's here. And like, they're like, put on your proton back and like pretend. And like, Slimer's like, all right, fine, I'll do this for food. Like, whatever. That doesn't, I don't know. What does Slimer even eat? Cause like he eats and it'll fall. Like, what does Slimer do?
Stomach? I don't know.
Like, what is the point of Slimer? He drives a bus. Like, what?
That's where
like comic relief.
That's where 25 million went because he looked actually pretty good.
He looked better than
he was the best one. Best looking one. Best looking one. That's for sure. That's for sure.
God.
You know what? I'll tell you where Winston Zedmore was. He was principaling a school because he was selling crack in the school in the substitute. Remember? He becomes the principal.
God, that's right. Yes.
Ernie Hudson,
yes.
man. He is awesome, by the way. And I agree with you. He doesn't get enough love in the Ghostbusters series. Like, what does he say in the first one? I've seen shit that'll turn you white. Like he's the real man. He's the everyman. Like he's the guy that you live through because these other guys are all these crackpot scientists and wackos, and this guy's just doing a job. Like he's just a gun for hire.
Yeah, man. It's so funny because he like how did he get that job anyway? Because he just wasn't scared.
He answered an ad.
Yeah,
an ad in the newspaper. They were looking for someone.
Gotta hang out with these stupid white dudes who are crazy. I gotta do this grunt work. Like he doesn't care. He's like, all right, let's do this. Like,
oh my God. So I mean, let's just obviously there's no order here. So I'm really curious some of your favorite scenes from this, or even like. Because I have favorite minor characters too, but like, what are some of your favorite scenes from Ghostbusters? Ghostbusters 2, like in this one?
I absolutely love and need a spin-off series of Dr. Peter Venkman's The World of the Psychic. Like I need to see that as an actual show. And what channel was that on? Was that like a public access channel? Like that's what I wasn't sure about.
Garbage.
Right? Like, but I love that scene. Like that to me is ridiculous. And just anything with Janosch. Like Janosch and Peter MacNicol puts on like a freaking acting clinic, man. Like
amazing.
He invented this character and he's so funny. Like all the lines are amazing.
One of my favorite lines is like, where are you from? He's like, Upper West Side.
The Upper West Side.
He everything he does is, and I'll say this, when I was a kid, I thought Ghostbusters 2 was also the scarier Ghostbusters because like when he shows up at Dana's apartment, Sigourney Weaver's apartment with the blackout, which we have to talk about how the Ghostbusters get to dig a hole in the middle of the street, like that long,
that was great.
That long, right? So anyway, there's a blackout. He shows up, and then his eyes like are flashlights.
Oh man,
that when I was a kid, I was like, no, we're not doing this.
He's
like,
creepy the whole time, man. He's such a creep. Like from start to like right in the beginning, you're like, this guy's a freaking creep.
He has the creepy vibes hitting on Dana and then also wanting to take the baby. Like, I'll tell you, dude, you're right. Like, you nailed it. That scene with the eyes, the shoe scenes when I was a kid that scared the crap out of me. That and in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Large Marge. When she goes,
my
like,
God.
Like in the truck.
You know, I still think about that. Like sometimes when I'm like driving late at night, like that scene, I like crosses my mind. Like for like, it lives in my head rent free, but like for a split second, like I don't think about it too much, but I remember that. Oh my God, that scene was.
But like him walking down the hall, like you're right, like that freaked the hell out of me. And then him with the baby carriage in the air when he's flying to get him off the ledge. That's freaky, man.
Scene confuses me. This is a scene from like towards the end of the film where like the Janosch like has to get the baby because like the basically the plot of the movie is this: the Vigo is coming back to life, is trying to come back, so he needs a child to like put his soul inside of, I guess, and then to be reborn. So they pick obviously Dana's kid. Why not? So why not? Like, so then because there
aren't so many other kids that he could have just gone to an orphanage and gotten a kid.
Exactly. So they go.
This movie would have been over.
they get he grabs the baby because the baby's standing on the ledge, which that is a weird scene.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, is he a ghost? Like, because he's transparent.
So.
Is he in the museum when he does that, or did he leave, become a ghost, and then go back and then become like not?
I think
like,
he was
astral projection or something.
I think it was astral projection.
Yeah.
Like I think he was given that power by Vigo.
that scene was so weird. And
I mean, dude, like, can we? I know you want to talk about scenes, but I want to talk about the fact that like everyone is selfish in this movie.
Yes.
Okay. No one cares about anything but themselves, and I'm talking about everyone. I'm like the secretary. Like they're like making out, and there's a baby they're supposed to be watching. And let's just talk about the fact that they went on a date when the baby had been attacked. Like, I'm not going on a date. I'm staying with my baby. I'm staying locked doors. I am not moving. And she's like, oh, yeah, Peter wants to go on a date, so let's go on a date. And like they're like, Pete, you got to come with us. We found slime. It's crazy. And he's like, do you think we should go? And she's like, she turns around and goes and like gives him the eyes and like gets back in the cab. And he's like, oh, I guess I'm going on a date. She didn't care that they found the slime that attacked the kid. And was like, let's stop everything. I want to go too. Like this slime tried to kill my child. I'm fucking going.
But aren't they also walking through slime in New York? It's not just in her bathtub. They're collecting it all over Manhattan. So people have to be, this has to be on the news. This has to be on the news. Like, you know, they're talking about like more of this weird pink liquid came out of, I don't know, somewhere. And then like that, you're right, Manny. Like there's a selfishness to this movie that is so ridiculous, but at the same time,
it's like we're the only ones that know that there's like some serious shit going on. Everyone else is just like going along their day. Like, oh yeah, we have a date
to it too. Like in that selfishness, like some of the stuff that people say, like Egon says this weird thing while they're in her apartment, like I want to run some gynecological tests on her, and then Bill Murray, this movie is like who wouldn't? End scene.
That's a very.
I was like, is this movie rated R? It's like,
well, and it's supposed to be. I think it's PG, isn't it? Isn't it actually?
How
PG?
is it PG?
I'm double checking right now because I'm pretty sure.
I think in today's standards, things would probably be PG.
I think it was pre-PG 13, like the line.
Oh, 13 didn't exist.
But I think I could be wrong because it's 89, right? And like
Spielberg made PG 13.
It's borderline, right?
Yes, like I remember we did I think it was Gremlins and Spielberg. Spielberg was the one that came up with the PG-13 rating because they were going to rate it R, but he didn't want to lose some of his audience. So he knew that like some of his stuff was too scary for PG. So like this should have been a PG-13 at least.
PG.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought. Because even there's a lot of movies back in that day where they scare the crap out of you, and you're a kid. It's like, man, I watched this, right? Like I watched the TV edit, but as a kid, but you watch it over and over. But you said something, and we got to go back to it. But the piece about the slime coming out of the plumbing. Like she's in an apartment complex. This is Manhattan, right? It's not like she has like dedicated plumbing to her house. Is this thing like only possessing her plumbing? Like what is going on with the system here? And like there's slime coming out of sewer grates, and I mean it's all down underneath this town. Like I gotta imagine that more people are experiencing this. Why isn't it on the news? It like this would be all over the place. You would think, right? But they're called charlatans, and nobody believes them. So it's like,
the reason is New York. In the 80s,
they're selfish. We're fucking selfish.
Is a trash heap. You can tell by the last scene before she goes to the museum of all the garbage flying around. Like the thing is this. I know New York is dirty. Like I live in LA now, but like, and LA is dirty too, but like, it's not New York dirty. Like when I came out here to look for an apartment and I went back to my apartment in Queens where I was living in Astoria, the one thing I noticed immediately, I was like, Jesus Christ, there's so much garbage on the street.
Yeah.
So maybe they're just like, oh, what is this liquid? This weird liquid I just walked through? Who knows? When you're in New York, you step in stuff. Like you're walking. You're like, I don't know what this is. I just kicked something that might be someone's hand, and like you're just walking around knowing there's bodies in the river. Like this is the town. This is the city that this shit happened in. So of course, look at the mayor. He's like said like in my intro, like it's everyone's God-given right to treat each other like shit, basically, and everyone's like, yeah, that's New York. Treat each other like garbage. It's your right. Goodbye.
Would you vote for this? Like, what is this guy's platform? Because like, I don't get this guy. Like, what does he stand for? Because like, I couldn't understand like what this guy's about. All he's like, you talk about selfish. This guy's selfish. He does nothing for the people, man. This guy sucks.
And his partners, like his
Kurt Fuller?
sidekick was terrible.
Yeah.
Kurt Fuller,
that guy.
Kurt Fuller.
Love that guy.
Yeah.
Who, if you haven't seen No Holds Barred, go and see No Holds Barred now. We'll pause the podcast. You could go watch it and then come back, because that was like talk about an acting clinic. That was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my entire life. That man is a dynamo. But like
also from '89.
Yeah. I also don't understand. You're right. I don't understand what his platform is, because in the first Ghostbusters, he's like talking to a priest, being like, what do I do? What do I do? Or whatever. And he's saying, follow this and whatever. And then this one, he's like, what am I supposed to tell people to be nice to each other? Fuck you. And then he walks
slime,
out.
Man.
Like,
it's the slime. It was making him even worse.
It's in the water. God. It's in everything. It's there. And I just think that you talk about creepy scenes, like the bathtub when it almost like ate it, and it looked sort of like this weird, like fleshy, like what the hell was that? But it was as if like the slime infused itself into the bathtub, and it was no longer slime; it was controlling the porcelain. Yeah, like that's what it looked like. And you talk about the negativity in the city, like and this play up of like everyone from New York is angry at each other and all this stuff, right? But how about the Judge Wexler?
Oh my God,
the Scolari, that whole part is one of my favorite parts of the movie. Like
the Scolari brothers,
the Scolari brothers was the greatest. Try to murder.
Give him the chair.
Give him the chair. That was the greatest scene, though. Rick Moranis, another amazing person in this. That scene when he has to do his opening statement, and he's just like, men and women, ladies and gentlemen of the audience and the jury, what do you think? He was like,
he tried.
Look, I don't think we should be getting angry at my friends here. Like, of course, okay, so the blackout was kind of horrible. I was stuck in an elevator and I had to make. I was like, wait, he's talking about the other, like shit his pants or something. Like I had to make it. And once I turned into a dog once, and they helped me. Thank you. When they go to the judge's face,
Rick Moranis'
face after that was just so classic. I was like, oh my God. Like, but it's amazing.
Yo, but his character is amazing. First of all, he's a great actor, and like it was a shame what happened to his wife, and like, he stepped up and gave up like the time that he was like prime, he gave up acting to be with his daughters, right? His kids. They said he was going to try to make a comeback recently. He was going to be in a couple of movies, but like he was amazing. Like, although I think his character is so like crazy that he's gone, like he's all he cares about is getting laid. But like, he was so good in this one. He was good. Yeah.
But like, what's weird is like, he said something about where he lives. He's like, something about living with his mom. It's like, didn't we forget in Ghostbusters 1, he had a kick-ass apartment. Yeah. He had a killer accounting business. Like it's almost like Ghostbusters 1, the world doesn't exist.
It was almost like the Thanos snap. Like it was like the 5 years, exactly 5 years. Like it was like 5 years, boom. Like things didn't exist. Like, no, you didn't used to have this awesome apartment by yourself, and have like this awesome party that he was having.
I mean, to be fair, that building did get destroyed in the Gozer.
True.
I want to ask everyone. I want to ask you guys. Like, so I wrote down something. I was like, is Ghostbusting just about destroying everything?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
I mean, the ballroom in the first one, this one, they just destroy the museum. I mean, the Statue of Liberty will never be the same, although it's nice in the end there, which I don't believe.
Impossible.
It is, and they don't care about collateral damage, man. That's not part of what they care about. They just
that goes back to like The Incredibles, like when isn't there this whole scene about like how they're suing superheroes because superheroes end up like destroying like the cities that they help protect.
Yep.
Like they should have brought something up like that. There's like an insurance guy who like insures the Ghostbusters. Cause like imagine that insurance, like it's like, yo, you're gonna destroy a bunch of things because you're trying to kill things that are invisible. Like they, you know, things go through them. Like they eat stuff that doesn't even stay there. Like, of course you're gonna destroy something.
And when they were in that crystal shop, in a jewelry shop,
oh god,
they set that up to destroy everything in the shop.
What was the damage?
Yeah,
and what was the bill of that? Because like in the first one, right, they give them the bill and they destroyed it, and he's like, I'm not paying this, and he's like, all right, well, we'll just go put this thing right back where it came from.
Yeah,
like what was the bill of that place, and how much?
Yeah, and how do you start to charge for ghost like hunting?
Wait, but that's the
right?
point.
Because like that proton costs a lot of money. Like that,
they had an invoice. They had an invoice in part one. Like they literally had an invoice writing it down. Well, proton charges and everything.
Yeah.
Like, and then they have commercials like on TV. Like it should have been this is the most New York reference, but it should have been like Ghostbusters commercial, and then right after that, Dr. Zizmore, and like it's just amazing. Like Dr. Zizmore, like, you know, he was like, go back, an acne like doctor. It was the most New York ever commercial ever. But they're terrible. They're not good at their jobs.
That goes back to like they're only really good at like cheesy ass commercials and like great one liners. Like when they come back and they're like, yeah, that's right, we're back, and they're all like, you know, excited that they're back because like ghosts are back in town, and like like the montage of things that are happening, and like all of a sudden the commercials and stuff come out. Like that to me is the funniest part. Like that montage is so fun. Like I was excited watching that, you know.
The best part about it, though, to me, and a lot of this is like the tongue-in-cheek aspect of them being like these, like essentially exterminators, right? They're crappy exterminators, and like I think that is what makes it so funny, because it's this play on that, and like even in the first one, it's like, oh, cockroaches, and the guy's like, man, it must be a big cockroach. Like all those things that they play on that, and I just find that so funny to me. And the fact that they are kind of like crappy at their jobs, like, you know, I guess you don't really see it too much, but you see some of this stuff. But I just find that like probably the best part. And you talk about collateral damage, like you mentioned this earlier, digging the hole in the middle of the street in Manhattan, like, and the fact that the cop comes up and they just make up this story about, you know, the phone lines and the gas lines and the power outages, and then they literally knock out the power to like half the island, which is hilarious to me. I mean, they just do whatever they want, and I think that that's what makes it so funny and like this fun thing to watch, because it's so ridiculous. Like it's over the top.
It's basically a movie of sketches, right?
Yes.
Like you're like you like the Bankman show. That was basically him going like, yo, we're just going to put this on and like make fun of these kind of shows. And he's like, all right, there's your sketch. All right, we're going to do a sketch where we're making fun of New York accents and like, you know, contractors where they just say anything and people usually just believe them because they're just like, whatever. Like there's even a joke is like, I don't even know what part of this was like. He's like, it's like a cop in a donut factory. Like what?
And that's the thing, is like they're so, oh god, I don't know, like there are a couple things. I almost don't want to do this, but like I want to go all the way back to the first scene in the birthday party and just say, are we serious that like someone that they're singing the theme song to the movie it's very meta. It's like a Jaws 4 when they're like doing the Jaws movie in the movie.
Well, I mean, I guess that they're also laughing at themselves that this was like a money grab, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to make fun of the fact that like we're now singing our own theme song.
And they kept the firehouse. If they got sued by everyone, how did they still have this building? It should be dilapidated just like when they first got it.
Yeah.
I think, you're right. And the fact that it was software, and you mentioned it, I think Manny, you said this earlier, when the actual logo that they're using is the two, which is like, that wouldn't actually be, it's like we're back, but why would you have two? Right? It wouldn't be, but it's like self-aware, and it's kind of stupid, but that's what makes it funny. And that's kind of why I like the second one so much, because it's kind of so dumb that it's great. Like, I don't know why. The first one is a great film end to end. This one has a lot of awesome moments, a lot of great characters. as a movie, yeah, it's not as good, but it's like fun because it's so self-aware and stupid. That's why I
think
love it.
I think you do appreciate it more by knowing one, right? So like,
yeah,
some sequels stand alone. This sequel does not. Like, you'd have to watch one to appreciate the funny meta and joking that they're kind of poking at themselves in this one, because you'd be like, what? Like the two, like, it's just a ridiculous logo. Like, I'm just looking at it, I'm like, yeah, like if this was real, you would just like put on your suits again. Plus that costs money. Like, like graphic designers aren't cheap to redo a freaking logo. Like,
they got it on Fiverr.
You know, like, Fiverr. Like, listen, take this logo, put a 2 on it. Oh, okay.
I think they added lights to the car, like it just like so top heavy. That car should have toppled right over.
That thing was tipping over. Did you see when they turned around the corner there? Holy crap!
Well, according to IMDb, there's a scene that scene where Ray was like driving crazily and like ran a red light. That's out of order. That actually is because apparently he's like possessed by Vigo, and that's why he's driving like that. But they cut it into the montage. I thought this movie. This sounds so crazy. I put this movie in like, you know, like in Rocky 3, there are like bunch of fights. And then like, right. This is the Rocky 3.
Yeah.
Even though there's only 2 of them, like this is Ghostbusters 2 is like Rocky 3. There's more than one montage. There's a bunch of them, a bunch of like ghost busting, and it's a little longer, and it doesn't know what it wants to be. It doesn't know if it wants to be like in a way like a Rocky 1, Rocky 2, where it's just like a story driven thing, or totally Rocky 4 craziness. We're just doing this. And this is like right in that middle space, because it does have the, I
love that you're comparing this movie to the Rocky franchise.
Dude, I can't help it because it's so like that. When I was watching, I'm like, it's literally, this is what we're watching. We're watching a kind of a Rocky 3 like world, a movie that doesn't know if it wants to go all the way to be crazy, but still wants to be a character film, has 2 montages, multiple fights. Like, it's just out of hand.
What did you guys think of the music, right? Because that was something else that I was curious about.
Bobby Brown?
You got Bobby Brown, you got the song, like, what is it?
All of it is great.
Like, the fact that he cameos in it. And I mean, like, let me just, can I hit you guys with some lyrics here for a second?
Sure.
Too hot to handle, too cold to hold. They're called the Ghostbusters and they're in control. Had him throwing a party for a bunch of children, all while the slime was under the building. So they packed up their group, got a grip, came equipped, grabbed their proton packs off their back, and they split. Found out about Vigo, the master of evil, try to battle my boys. That's not legal. I mean, come on. That's like, come on, guys. Right? I mean, just like that. I'm pretty sure that won an award, by the way. It won a BMI Film Award.
Oh,
but God. I mean, I like that is up there with like, it's not performed in the movie like, what is it, Ninja Rap in Turtles with Vanilla Ice, but it was like that kind of moment to me when I'm like,
oh, it definitely was.
It's just
so
good.
80s. But that's
when that was going on, when I was listening to that, I was thinking of Ninja Rap. Like, it made me like, oh, this is like Ninja Rap. Like, even though it wasn't like set up that way, but it was kind of like that. You're right. I agree with you. That feeling, like you got that feeling.
It's like fun, right? And it just had that, like, it's so like 89 is on this cusp of like, is 89 the 90s or is it the 80s? It's like right there on the cusp there.
Yeah.
But I feel like it was so on brand for that time, where like the movie had a theme song that was sort of performed, and it had like the actual lyrics of like the plot, which is wild. Like, imagine Bobby Brown and Babyface sitting in the theater, sitting in like a studio. I mean, like, man, we gotta like figure out how to work Vigo the Carpathian into this song right now. Like, how are we gonna talk? Like, and they make up like an awesome rhyme about it too, which is so good. But like, I watched this yesterday again, and I like, look, don't give me a reason to watch Ghostbusters 2 again. Like, I'll do it. don't make me do it. And I did. And I had that song in my head all damn day. Like, I was singing it to myself all day. Like, it's such a good song.
Oh,
It's so good.
I mean, you brought up like the other songs, right? Your love makes me high. Yeah, I mean that like, so when I was what I'm trying to say, I was doing a TikTok for my brewery, and I was watching yeast like make bubbles, right? Because that's what happens when the yeast are activating and making the killing the sugar and making alcohol. And I played that song because I'm like, oh, this reminds me of the scene when the slime is like getting higher and like whatever. So I had to play that song because it just was just like all I could think about is Ghostbusters 2. And like, then I keep going back. Like when you brought this up, I was like, actually, I do like this movie. Like the movie's just fun. Like, yeah. Like you I was gonna rag on this movie, by the way, like right before you said it was fun, because I was like, this movie sucked. Like, yes, as like a movie, film, it sucks, but like it's just fun. Like it's ridiculous fun. Like I keep looking at that painting behind you, and I'm like, it's so great. I
should have put it higher. I wish I had a way to put it up higher, but
no, it's great. It's right here. It's perfect. It's perfect.
But you're saying it's fun, but it's also got those moments that are just like really intense. Like, Egon and Ray almost burned to death in a fire in that, like when they're developing the picture.
Yeah.
And if Winston
and
wasn't there,
comes in?
Guess what?
Guess who comes
Peter's
in?
out on a date, or Peter's out, or whatever he's doing. Peter doesn't do anything for the Ghostbusters. He is the worst Ghostbuster of all.
He's
time.
A pointer.
He sucks.
Oh, he's terrible. And he has his good one-liners though.
Yeah, like what was Winston doing? Just sitting there, and then he's like, oh, and then he like saved them.
Johnny on the spot, man.
He does everything.
I think he just waits. Like he knows like things about to happen. Like Winston's job was to be like,
to keep them alive.
You sit on the stand line. yeah.
Like these guys are amateurs.
When I used to do electrical like work, they used to say like union guys, what they do like when they're about to touch like electric that is not AC, it's DC. So like you can like get grabbed on and like not let go. There's a guy who sits there with a 2x4 waiting to hit somebody.
That's Winston.
That's freaking Winston. He's the guy. Like he got hired. It's like, what do you do? Like, yeah, I hold a 2x4 just in case someone gets like sucked into electrical. Like what?
I need to use that.
Yo, I get $250 an hour just to sit here. Like wait, and like you know, one day he wants to hit him. Like, oh, I get to hit you for like you're not gonna get mad at me if I hit you in the face all for being electrocuted. No, like that's his guy in real life. Yeah, like that's Winston's job. Like he's just there, like with like, what do I do? It's like, oh, can I come in the photo booth with you? Like, no, stand outside just in case something goes wrong. Like
the 2x4 guy. I love that.
Oh man, yeah, because it's crazy because the fact that he even does have the stuff with them goes down in that like tunnel, the train tunnel, which God. Scene, you have a bunch of decapitated heads on sticks. Like that
freaked me out too.
Yeah, I mean, and then he almost gets hit by a ghost train, and then they go, "Hey, did you catch the number on the?"
Sorry, I missed it.
Well, first of all, it's like on the locomotive. They're like, did you catch the number on the locomotive?
First of all, why did they go down there without their proton packs? I would be carrying that everywhere.
Like I know it's heavy, but that's a burden worth carrying, man.
Yeah.
Like you put that on because. Come on, like
they knew where they were going, right?
Yeah,
like knew they were going.
Maybe I run into some decapitated heads that I need to blast these things with that.
Yeah,
but like I don't know. And did they even need to cut the hole in the street then at that point? Because somehow they found a way down, right? They found this like secret passage, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. They find this old train tunnel. Like I just like
Peter's
that.
Plan. That'd have been Peter's plan. Like, let's just drill a hole down to the ground. We'll get away with it. Like, how would you get away with it? And the fact is, like, at that point, where's Winston? And thank God he wasn't there. But like,
also,
where was he?
What are the flashlights?
His life. Well, you think he ruined his? They ruined his life. He got sued by the city and state. He answered a want ad in Ghostbusters 1. And now the state of New York is suing him. He's like, son of a bitch.
He's like, I signed up for this shit, man. What the
yeah.
Dude,
the flashlights they carried also do nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Right. Nothing. Like they can't see anything. That's the thing. Like, why are you going in that tunnel without being prepared? Like what you're going in to see. It's not like they're gonna go there and be like, oh, nothing's here. Like they're going to see ghosts or something that has to do with ghosts. Like
they're looking for the river of slime. They're looking for it.
Yeah, but what are you going to do with it once you see it?
You jump in it. Obviously, that's what you do. You
crazy thing. Like they jumped in it. Like,
what did you think about it? Like turning them into like raging like they're gonna kill each other, right? And then they take the clothes off, and then they're okay now. Like that's cool.
The best is they take their clothes off, but it's still covered in slime. Their face. It's still on their face, which is going into their skin. Yeah. But like they're fine because they took their clothes out. So it only makes you angry if it's on your clothes.
And then how did they find Peter? Like, how did they even know?
Oh, that was an awesome scene too. That kind of reminded me of the Doubtfire scene too, like the flying shrimp, like when he goes like this, like the slime goes everywhere. Like, oh, it's great. And I love that she's pissed off, right? She's mad, but I'm like, this is literally like the thing that you wanted. Like your kid was being killed by a tub that turned into a pink monster because of the slime, and you're upset that your date was just ruined. Again, selfish.
She doesn't get a lot of nights out, Manny. I mean, she does. This is one night out on the town. It's it's.
But she's selfish. That's why she's divorced, because the guy who had the baby with her, she was selfish. She wanted to go on dates. The guy's like, we need to take care of this kid. Like, no, let's leave him at home.
He took a job in another country.
Was there a custody battle over this kid? That's what I really
obviously not. Like, he was just like,
definitely
I'm out of
should
here.
Lose that custody.
Good thing Lewis wasn't her lawyer.
Yeah.
Dana got some great jobs though, because like she went from being in an orchestra to then being a restoration specialist at the museum at the museum, and then back into the orchestra. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that you need to be a specialist to get that job to like restore like paintings by Gauguin.
I was going to ask you, like, how did she train for that? Like, did Janos just want to hook up with her, so he gave her the job? Like, how do you get that job? Because she could have really messed that thing up, right?
Oh, yeah,
well,
absolutely.
Maybe they felt pity for her that she almost she turned into a ghost, like a dog, and they were like, "Oh, you have some crazy story."
Yeah, that never bothers her. That never comes up. Like, never. She's just like. I mean, it should be like the first scene should be here in therapy, just being like, and
she doesn't really have a connection to what's his name off of that.
Rick Moranis.
And they both turned into dogs together. Yeah. Like they share a PTSD story.
They literally hooked up, right? Keymaster and the gatekeeper. It's like, what's going on with that?
Yeah, she totally was like,
wait, is the kid his?
No.
Oh my God.
It's
5 years later.
They should have been. That should have been 5-year-old kid,
man.
Awesome. That would have been awesome.
I'm gonna pretend that it was like 9 months or 12 months later, whatever the hell it was, and I'm gonna pretend that you got.
But think about it. They could have made him like the next, like the kid could have been the next evil thing that they had to like fight off, like get the evil thing out of the kid that was spawned by the creation of the gatekeeper.
I'm still not convinced that. So I know that their sequel exists, right? Afterlife. I'm still not convinced that Vigo isn't partially in this kid. I mean, he was sort of in him, right? Like he saw his face. Like, are we so sure that that's it and it's over? He doesn't have some type of like fused DNA or something. Like, what's going on with that?
They could definitely make that work.
They
like
should.
if they came out with like the Afterlife 2, right? Like because I thought that the Afterlife was good.
I liked it a lot.
And they could definitely be like, like the kid, like, oh, why is this person so evil? And it's like, well, he's the baby that was like, part of, Vigo being almost took over. And maybe like he did get in there, like, but like something needs to trigger it. Like slime comes back. Slime comes back.
Do you feel like, do you feel like his plan was kind of weak? Like he's got to he's in a painting. So I guess what can you really do? Like you're in a painting, you got to get some guy to help you out. But like he possessed a baby. Like does the baby? So does he have to grow up? Like do we have an evil baby?
That's
now
what I was trying to figure out, because I'm like, he can at any point, if it's just the baby. It sounds terrible, but we could just do
what you got.
Rid of that baby. You know what I mean? Because like, what are you going to do? Like, it's like, I guess we have to bring this baby up unless it just becomes an adult. But I don't think so, because they were talking about bringing the child up, her and like Balky's cousin, like,
Balky's cousin.
In my brain, Janos goes back to the apartment and Balky's there. Like, that's how I see
cousin Larry.
That's the accent. Like, where are you from?
That's how I see it. Like, I feel like they're both from Mypos.
I mean,
Meatballs.
think about that, right? Because he's got what, this baby's, I think they said what, 9 months old or something.
Yeah.
You got to at least, like, at what point can you actually do some stuff? Be 12,
Yeah, like rule
maybe?
the world. Yeah.
So he's got to be like at least 12. I mean, I'm thinking like Game of Thrones era. Like he needs some guidance. Like, is Janos really going to be like somebody guiding this guy?
No,
I mean, he's going to put in some time before he can actually take over the world. I mean, 12 years is a long time, right? Like,
first of all, Janos is going to be the first one to get killed. Once the kid gets of age to do that, he's going to be like, I'm practicing, and he's dead. Like, he's out. Like,
why not just take over Janos? Like, I don't understand. Like, he didn't have to be that.
Or Ray, right?
Or Ray.
away.
Yeah, he was already kind of taking over Ray. So it's
That
like
scene's hilarious.
all he needed to be is alive to do anything, right? To have his power. So it's like you said, like, was all of a sudden the baby going to be like this, like, you know, a baby boss type character?
Long
Like,
plan, man.
Like, you know, yeah, it was really flawed. Like, could have definitely that's what they could have done a 5-year-old, and it could have been her child from, you know, 1, and a 5-year-old would have been a little bit better. Not great, but at least 5.
No, because then you have to deal with the kid. Like, I like the baby because the baby has no lines. It's just there, and every now and then they put the camera on it. Like other than that, like then you have to like actually like, you know, full house it. And now we got to like listen to the baby.
The twins.
Yeah, like you know, like to me, it's like.
Well, maybe the baby is still the like evilish baby from the spawn of the gatekeepers, and like, you know, so like she has them locked away, and I'm like,
it's like a Pet Cemetery situation, like where the kid's like possessed and he's running around with like a knife or something.
Yeah,
I mean, they don't call him the Scourge of Carpathia for nothing. Vigo the Cruel, Vigo the Torturer.
But here's the thing: like, he was able to control that slime from the painting. Why couldn't he do other things?
Yeah, like make monsters out of the slime. Like he was controlling the bathtub there. I don't know.
Yeah, like he turned what's his name into a babysitter ghost. You know, like Mary Poppins, like evil twin. Like, why is he not doing that to everyone? Like, from the painting? Like,
I don't know.
Like, you know,
it's very weird because I also felt like the painting changed sizes like throughout the movie. Yeah,
it did.
It got big. It was small. It was big. I was like, there's no continuity.
The last painting is terrible.
Well,
like,
they said so he died in the 17th century and he inherited, or he possessed the painting. So I'm assuming his painting is from the 17th century too, but how does that thing live on that long in the basement of like how does that thing make it through I guess they had a lot of people restoring it to
perfect
make it
condition.
And like, are people like the cult of Vigo, like they kept it alive because they were like, and how come he hasn't tried to do this before?
Yeah, well, maybe he did. Maybe he did, and we just didn't know about it. I need a prequel. We need a prequel that goes through.
Yeah, somewhere in like year 3 of their like where they're going through their lawsuits, and like, you know, we get the prequel of where the painting is, because what's so funny about these movies in the 80s and stuff, when like they use computers, like when Egon brings up like, see, I looked them up last night on this, like it's like a site, like a website or something, like Tobin's, it's a floppy disk, and this guy, he's like, here, it's like a small paragraph, like, ooh. It's like, and it's like no information, and they have like they talk about like how he was like executed. I'm like,
oh man,
just before his head died. It's like, this is a PG film. You just talked about someone being quartered and hung and shot. First of all, shot. It's the 17th. It's like the 7th. Like, where in that time period is there a gun?
I guess.
I guess
a crossbow. He definitely got shot with something.
He was poisoned, shot, stabbed, hung, stretched, disemboweled, drawn, and quartered. Like, that is, I mean, how do you? And then his head was alive until it died. I guess apparently it's until his head died, as you said. Like, I mean, he's a very powerful magician, I guess, as Janos says. But man, to be able to survive that and then drawn and quartered, like, I mean, this dude has seen some stuff.
He's Jason Voorhees.
He is.
Like, dude, they should have brought his whole body back, like into different, like all his body parts just start to
have to reassemble
back.
him.
That would have been like some horrible shit.
Man, instead of the painting, they got to find the bones and like reset the cult of Vigo, man.
Exactly.
Maybe there's some like satanic,
probably like a ritual going on
there.
Well, maybe the cult of Vigo, maybe those are the people in the movie Cobra. And like they were too busy clinking the axes together in the basement. They never got, oh damn, we were supposed to put those bones together.
We need some like power metal band called the Cult of Vigo. Like that. I could, I just feel like, I don't know. I've always joked about having some type of metal band that's Ghostbuster themed, so Title Track, Don't Cross the Streams, all these ridiculous songs. But we need a Cult of Vigo. That is a power metal band waiting to happen, in my opinion.
That is hilarious. That would be amazing. I would buy that album immediately.
Do you like Vigo better than Gozer? I do personally, but
I think what sucks is like because we don't get to really know Gozer. We just see Gozer at the end, and it's like that's it. That's Gozer. Where Vigo is like in there.
Yeah, Sumerian god is pretty awesome. Like the theory of a Sumerian god and like that awesome place where he or they were, whatever the person is, but like that tower and the light show there versus like being in a painting. Like I don't know. I guess she's in a refrigerator too, but it's kind of like it's kind of powerful. But Vigo, like the idea of Vigo is powerful. Yeah. But in theory, he's pretty weak, and he gets defeated very easily by like, a slime blower. It's pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
Like my thing is like you could have just like cut the painting.
Yeah.
Get a knife. Like during the day, just like cut it, and like that's it. He's gone.
That's all they had to do.
That's all they had to do.
They didn't know where Gozer was, what Gozer is in Ghostbusters 1. Then you have Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Like in this, it was like,
but that like the Stay Puft came from someone's mind, right? Like that was because like they thought of Stay Puft, right? So like that villain was so much more powerful that they were able to try, like, yes, not Stay Puft, but the fact that like that he could or they can make you think of anything and it would just appear at its most evilest form. Like, what did this guy do? He just was like standing there and like going like this a lot. Like,
he made the slime. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean,
but wait, he got out. So why couldn't he just stay alive that way?
It's a tough one. Maybe because he was like partially possessed the kid for like half a minute and it was close to midnight or something. They never explain it. And how he gets out is beyond me.
So he gets out. So then I'm thinking, is that kind of like, oh, you're now breathing like this century's air. So you're going to like wither away. So you need to get into someone younger of this century or else you're just going to die because you stepped out of the painting for a moment.
It's like so the century immune system.
Yeah, like the painting was like keeping him like frozen basically, and now he's thawed out, and it's like, oh shit, and like everything's like catching up. Like I was not sure what was going on. I was like, oh wait, he's alive. Like he's moving things with his hand. Like he could do whatever. And that's the thing right there. Like if you had enough time, like could you just like walk outside and like possess somebody young?
Yeah, or just Janosch.
Or yeah, exactly.
This guy is the worst villain. He is a.
Can we talk about the vacuum hoses that picked her up? Like where did
that come from?
What the fuck was that?
I was like,
they have that hanging from the ceiling?
Prop ever. Yeah. Like all of a sudden, I'm like, does this restore paintings? Like, what is this? Like that was like they were like picked that up at Home Depot. They're like, well, we need something scary looking, kind of like that could like, pick her up, like a shop vac.
Yeah. Go to Pergamon.
It's like what's our budget now? Well, we spent it all on Slimers, so
and Bill Murray's salary most likely.
Get some shop vac hoses and tie her up. They can't have like cool tentacles or like ectoplasm and stuff on that. No, they should have done that. And they like keep the hose, like just crazy.
They keep leaving the kid just like in random places.
Yeah, like between pillows. Like
why
they're feeding you French bread pizza, which is a thing I haven't had since I was like 10. And then they're just like, and then they're like, oh, stay back here while we fight an entity somehow and figure this out, who then paralyzes us with the worst visual effect of all time.
What do you mean? That was kind of like a Star Wars effect, like when Palpatine gets turned into. He's like,
yeah.
Like that was
but then the moron Bill Murray's like, what was his plan?
Wait over here. You know, what about all the stuff flying around the room? Look, if I'm her ex-husband, you got a custody battle on hand here. This kid is. This is like negligent behavior here. This is unless he doesn't want the kid, you know, but maybe that's why he flew away to Europe or whatever. But he's got a case on his hands here to get this kid back in a custody battle because they do not take care of this kid at all. Dude, and like the trauma of growing up, like is this gonna mess him up?
Horrifying, most likely. But we have to talk about the scene of this movie that is the most memorable.
Oh yes, it's
bringing
slime time.
The statue.
Wait, before you go into that, the toaster scene. The toaster scene.
The
toaster scene's phenomenal.
The power
it's
of this
so
slime.
good,
iconic.
When you learn the power of the slime, of the good part of the slime. Like,
did the toaster make toast out of the slime?
Yes. At the end, the toast comes out.
Wow. So it was slime toast? I was wondering if they were going to use it as like a spread, like, you know, like a jelly or something.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know where you didn't see the bread go in it, but somehow the bread came out.
And they talked about sleeping with the slime.
Yes,
I need to understand that. Why is Ray so freaking weird?
That was
Ray and Egon. Like, what is wrong with those two? Like, I get it, science, but like, there's a level that you just stop at. His science experiment in the beginning of like torturing people, like I'm just gonna keep him in there and keep raising the temperature in the room. That's horrifying. What do you?
Yes.
What is that?
That was crazy.
It's messed up, man.
Give him the puppy. And
he's getting money for this. He's getting money.
Take away the puppy. Take away the puppy.
No, but you said it. Like, I don't want to take it too far in the gutter here, so you guys can pump the brakes whenever you want. But like, he's talking about using this stuff as, I'm assuming, as some sort of lubricant or something. Like, you know, it's like you're sleeping with it. Like, what the hell is he doing with this? And I won't go much further there because I don't want to take it too far in the gutter.
Oh, it's fine.
Man, it is like, what the hell was he doing with that? And then did that have any type of psychokinetic effects? Like, if he was using that, like you know, if it's
maybe that's why he was so easily like possessed by Vigo. Because like to me, like Vigo was controlling the slime. So even when the toaster, I was like, does he feel where the slime is?
It's like a symbiote.
Is he like thing? Is he like connected?
Okay, is it an excretion from Vigo that is like
no, because like
you know where I'm going with
like
this,
here's the thing.
Yeah,
I know. But why is the slime existing?
Anger.
Okay, but like so what came first, the slime or the Vigo?
Well, the painting's been existing.
Yeah, so like was there slime next to the painting all the time? Or are these just two different like things and he was able to like manipulate the slime? Because like why is all of a sudden there a river and like this painting is like alive all of a sudden? Or like did the slime activate the painting?
I like your theory
we never
get
get
secretion.
Yeah. We never get like an explanation of like how he all of a sudden like this painting had to be somewhere. Somebody had to be next to it all the time. Like, why is it only when, you know, they put it in this museum that she's at that it becomes like a whole big, like it triggers to be alive?
And how many unsuccessful takeovers of other babies did he have throughout the years? Like
we need a series. We need I love pushing series, and we need a series of.
I think the series
failing.
I think it's a crossover between this and Indiana Jones. I feel like Indiana Jones found this painting. It is in that room at the end of Indiana Jones where all that stuff is, and they somehow brought it to New York, and that started this kind of like. I
need that movie in my life.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that would be great. Like they're like pushing.
They're
pushing the arc. They're pushing the lost arc, net passing it, and you see the painting, and like someone's grabbing it, like auction number 427 just got.
I'm pretty sure this has some. If this was in an Indiana Jones movie or a show, 100% the Nazis are trying to buy this.
Yeah,
like that's what's happening, and then they put it away, and then it somehow ends up in New York. New York is already. I mean, I've lived there. You step in things, you're like, that could be slime. No idea what.
Yeah, they're like you need slime to activate this thing. They're like, oh, just put it in New York and
this is New York. Who knows what's there? Yeah. So they, because I'm sure like that slime has been there. It like filled up the entire train line, like 100%. Like maybe the slime was already there because it just seemed like that was there.
I think it starts in North Jersey, man. I mean, I've driven through there. You go back past Newark, like you can smell it when you drive through there.
I guess like it started, and then like the anger just kept making it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So. This movie is so fun. So then it goes to, here's the part, Dan, say it. Like where
the Statue of Liberty.
Best part. He says it's slime time.
No, first of all, they're all trying to figure out how to do this. And they're just like, that license plate is what gives them the idea. Now, the new license plate symbol is garbage.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was the new license plate, what the hell would they have done? They would have been screwed. They would have stared at it.
That's why it's such a great timepiece.
I want to know how long it took them to get to the fucking Statue of Liberty. Like
they're waiting for the ferry.
Did they take the ferry?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Time means nothing in this film.
Yeah.
It's not like they got a helicopter. Cops kind of like them, but not like, it's New Year's, right?
They only had till midnight.
It's New Year's.
When the clock turned, that's when it was over.
It's New Year's.
The ferry's not
closed.
Running.
No, it's New Year's.
No.
Like people are busy.
And then
it's New Year's.
Break into it.
And I could tell you this. If I saw the Statue of Liberty coming down, and I'm like, wait, that's not a fake Statue of Liberty. That's the real one. First of all, that thing would be like
destroying buildings. The whole city would have came down.
Yeah, there's
terrible
collateral damage.
They're using a Nintendo controller.
They don't care.
The Nintendo controller was great.
What's it hooked up to?
They had what is it? Electrodes.
Like it was like going everywhere.
They brought an entire sound system.
just the way the slime took over the tub.
Oh my god!
It is now taking over the shape of the Statue of Liberty.
That probably
they should have made the Statue of Liberty with smile.
That would have been phenomenal. That probably took them what?
Forever
to fill.
That's a week-long project, man.
Yeah,
at least.
And there's no way that slime in that tank was able to get the whole Statue of Liberty.
No.
They needed like 20 tanks.
And then they hook up a sound system. They hook up a Nintendo controller, and then the thing explodes. Everyone would have seen that from the island, being like, there was a huge explosion, right? And then they're like, let's go. They don't know how deep that is.
Did they
Statue of Liberty is sink? It would go right to the bottom of the fire.
Did they tell the mayor they were going to do this? Like nobody was freaked out.
No.
Like
no, because we skipped the whole scene where like they were institutionalized at some point.
That's the best part. That's the best scene. They're trying to explain this to Bill Murray's brother, right? The actual actor. They're like trying to explain this to him. And he's like, okay, guys. Yeah. Okay, buddy. Like imagine if this was real and you're sitting there. Like, I think about this all the time. Like, imagine, saw this actually happen. And you're trying to explain this to somebody. They don't believe you at all. And you get committed. Like, what do you do? Like,
you do what Bill Murray does. He put his head on the table and he's just like, I think these guys are completely nuts. I'm pretty sure he was just exhausted at that point. Being like, I can't believe we're still filming this fucking movie.
Yeah. Probably.
That's for sure. But you're right, though. They got committed. And the only way they got out was because the mayor was pissed because he's like, I got nothing else. Because this guy's such a pathetic mayor. Like, he sucks. He's the worst mayor ever. And he just, the Ghostbusters bail his ass out every single time. Without him, he wouldn't even got elected. Or maybe he got moved out of office here. But dude, like the committed scene, like, so they get mad, or he gets mad because he had them committed. So he gets them busted out and this other dude gets fired. And that's it, right? So then you're right. They have free reign to do whatever. They take over the Statue of Liberty. And you said it best, like this thing walking through the harbor, like imagine movie over, like, sorry, it's too deep. And then they just drown. Like they just drown. Like what is their backup plan?
Like they should have had a cutscene where Egon's like, okay, so Statue of Liberty is this high. And I know that I've done studies because there's no Google. there's no Google then, right? Like, so you can't just be like, yo, how deep is the harbor? Like, you'd have to
Go to the
like
library.
you'd have to go to the library for that. So like, there's like a whole scene of them going like, yeah, we could do this. Yeah, this is good. Like,
And then they get there and they're walking through the narrow streets of Manhattan
yes,
with the Statue of Liberty. And it's like
people are loving it.
people, this is what New York, this is the problem with New Yorkers. Like I'm from New York. If we saw this, one, people would run. Two, whoever has a gun would start shooting at it. And three, this thing would have destroyed Manhattan in 2 seconds. Like it would have just been, and then it gets to the museum, destroys it.
Yes,
Everything they do is destroying things. They just destroyed the museum.
But then they had like the coolest rope, the longest ropes ever.
The ropes.
To like,
where did those come
freaking
from?
Mission Impossible shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, why do you need the Statue of Liberty for this? Like, you could have just done this yourself.
That place should have went down in flames. You saw the torch. She dropped the torch in there. That was it.
Man. That's it. That the movie should have been over right there. Like, they should have the Statue of Liberty against like, oh man, imagine Vigo he became
as big. Yeah.
And he was as big as the Statue of Liberty, and there was a fight like Godzilla outside. Oh, that would have been sick.
That
Repulsa.
Again, they just paid Bill Murray way too much, probably. And there was like,
that's probably
Bill Murray and Slimer were done.
Because guarantee you, if you probably see like trivias on this, like, did he even want to do this movie?
Well, I know he didn't really want to do Ghostbusters 1. They had a hard time trying to get him to do that one.
He just showed up, right? Like they weren't sure. They're the first day of shooting, and they're like, "Is he going to show up?" They're like, "Oh, yeah." Here. They didn't even know, and he just came.
But like the second one, they must have been paid him a boatload of money to be in it. And he's probably like, "I'm just going to be an asshole this whole movie." Like I'm going on a date. Like they're like, "No, we're shooting a movie." He's like, "No, you're going on a date. We're going to a restaurant. I don't really need to be part of this."
I'm gonna get covered in slime. I'm not going in the sewer.
This is not happening. Like
I'm not getting by a ghost train.
Yeah. No. You're gonna put me in this, and then I'll be in like 4 scenes. Like that's it. And I'm gonna do like a funny skit where I make fun of TV shows. But
I like the concept too, like of Louis Tully. Like, so I think we talk about Rick Moranis as an underrated character, but did you like him becoming a Ghostbuster? And like he did it, like I did it, like he just coincidentally timed with the lifting of the slime dome or whatever the hell you want to call it, and he thinks he did it, and he became a Ghostbuster, and like he got Janine's heart, and like that whole love story was so weird to me, and it made no sense. It didn't need to be in there, but
it didn't need to be in there. It was stupid that they were making out while they're supposed to watch a baby that was being attacked by ghosts. Again, selfish people in this movie, but I did like that story arc for him, that he became like a Ghostbuster, and like he thought to himself that like he did help, and like maybe he did by like being there and like the people watching and cheering and feeling better that like someone was doing something. But either way, I thought that was like a very like cool side story that was going on.
Yeah. So some interesting trivia. So one, the actor who plays Vigo, the kid, that's his real kid. So the kid, the baby, though,
kind of looks like him.
Yeah, that's his child. The
big forehead.
So Janos, I didn't know this, but like is from Carpathia, which is why he knows all this stuff. So like, see these things you don't hear.
Wait, so Janos is from Carpathia.
Yeah,
like in the movie, like his character's from Carpathia.
Dude,
yeah,
which
is why he knows all this shit.
The Vigo clan, the Vigo worshippers.
He got this painting. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like he's been knowing this story forever.
That's right. Exactly.
Like his family has passed this down. His grandma's like, your only job is to get this painting, find it. Like he like studied on how to become a specialist of paintings,
the cult of
restoring paintings, so that he could one day get this painting on his hand.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So like it's really interesting that I didn't know that.
He's from the Upper West Side.
It was just
So,
he's
like,
from Carpathia, and he just lives
Yeah.
on the Upper West Side. And I guess the Upper West Side is funny. Like that's like a joke that doesn't make sense. Unless I guess she's from New York,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I guess they're just relying on the idea that the Upper West Side as a statement when he says
Yeah.
where are you from and he says in New York, because usually that's how I guess New Yorkers answer things. Like when we
Yeah.
say where are you from, you might just say where, the borough or the neighborhood you live in. But yeah, he made a meal out of that character because like I think there was it was like Benicio del Toro and like Usual Suspects. Like there's nothing there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he made it something. You know,
That's
but, you
Just made an
know,
Oscar.
flip him for real.
yeah,
I don't know what the fuck.
like at the end of the movie, the Statue of Liberty is laying on the ground, which means that it fell over,
Yeah.
which
Yes.
means hundreds of people are dead. Like,
Oh yes.
all those people outside the museum should be dead. Plus, it should be broken into pieces.
And people are collecting copper for scrap.
Yeah, like
I mean, it was the 80s. Like, people needed money. Like, they'd be
Yeah.
like, yo, it's here. I'm scrapping this thing.
oh my
Looters, man.
God.
Any scenario where there's a disaster, you get the looters running. But
Yeah.
doesn't it winds back up on Ellis Island again?
Yes.
Perfect condition.
Yeah, right at the
Liberty
end.
Island, whatever, right? So does that imply that they sprayed it again with slime, added more music, and then walked it back? Like,
Yes.
how did they get it back to the island?
That's the only
I
way.
mean, like, yeah, they had to have a parade, right? Because, like, if you imagine, like, at the end, you know who had to do it? Winston had to do it. like,
Poor
The
Winston.
cleanup guy.
They're like, oh, dude,
He's
man,
racist.
like, we're exhausted. I gotta go. I have to go. I have
He's
to
going
go
on
on
a
a
date.
date.
I have to go on a date. We have to go sleep with the slime.
He's going out
It's
again.
like, dude, just play your music. It's fine. You know what it is? It's the Ghostbusters 2 like theme song brings back the Statue of Liberty. Because like, imagine bringing it back and not having a parade. Like all you're doing is like walking slowly. Like, oh, great. I'm gonna, like, bring it
Ugh, I
back.
can't wait to go home and take a shower.
Like,
Yeah.
it's been a long fucking day. I'm sweaty, gross. So like, I had to deal with some like painting and slime, and this is just terrible. Like, this
I mean,
is-
the song is called "On Our Own." It's probably like it should be called "On My Own." It's Winston's theme song. Like, he's doing all this by himself, man.
Seriously.
Like, man,
you
me
should just see
again?
like Winston's like like playing with the Nintendo thing. Like, oh, here we go. Oh, is this it? And you got people like spotting him.
Winston
Like-
is the real hero of this movie.
Yeah,
And
He really is.
the best line, in my opinion, was like when Ray is saying, "It's like, hey Ray, would you like to move? Can you move? We'd like to shoot the monster now." Like everything is just said like, "Yeah, we're doing this thing, shooting a monster. We're here. Everything's sarcastic, whatever. Let's get this over with. I got to go home." Like it's kind of like that, but it's like the highest stakes ever because like there was already a ghost as big as that structure in Washington Square Park, like climbing through it. I mean,
Yeah.
people were dying left and right probably in this film, like that, like
Yeah.
just running.
What's the
from
body
stuff.
count? That's what I really want to know.
Yeah,
That's what I really want to
exactly.
know.
Oh man, exhausted, Manny.
All right. Well, here we
Drew.
go, man. We're here. We're at the point where we're actually putting it. We talk some shit about it, but most of the time, mostly, I think we like this movie. Drew obviously
I love
really
this
likes this movie.
So
I love it.
Yeah.
Drew, we'll start with you. So, do you feel it passes the nostalgia test? Meaning, is it still good? Is it something that like isn't just nostalgic? It goes past that, or is it just nostalgic? It's something that you watch to like bring that up, or is it after rewatching it just like not having it? Like what we call, well, there's a lot of things at this point. Well, let's just say
Water talkie.
you have
Bad.
water talkie's bad.
Water talkie's bad, or take off your pants and jacket bad. But that
Sorry,
I mean, I was told I was wrong about that, Dan.
Well, that person's wrong.
Yeah.
I'll put it this way. Look, for me, it passes the test. Look, I'm biased. I'm a fan, but I feel like you could sit somebody down, and maybe you said this earlier, Manny, you kind of need the first one, at least get the characters. But I do feel like you could sit somebody down that's never seen this, and on some level, they'll enjoy it, whether they think it's ridiculous or whether they think it's actually funny. There's a lot of moments in it, and there's a lot of like bit characters, and there's a lot of lines. Like it's very quotable of a movie.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
feel like the quotes and the wittiness of the characters and like, yeah, everyone's selfish, but the chemistry of all these people is so good. So for me, I feel like I think it passes the test because I think you could sit someone down and watch this. And I think most people would enjoy it on some level, whether they're making fun of it or whether they're actually enjoying it. like it definitely holds up for me. And I watched it again last night, and like I wasn't bored for a second. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm biased for sure. But I think it passes the test.
Manny.
I was gonna say no. I was gonna say it's just nostalgic, but I'm sitting here and I'm thinking like, do I want to watch it again? And the answer is yes. Like, and if you told me, even if I didn't want to watch again, I will probably watch this next year, around this time. Like, so it's not a movie. Like when I always say like, oh, something's just nostalgic. Like, I watch it every once in a while. And like, I don't like, I only watch it for the nostalgic reasons. Like this is definitely watched because of nostalgia, but like it is fun. Like what we're saying, it's just like a fun movie. It's funny. There's so many jokes about New York and how ridiculous New York can be. And it's just funny how like things have kind of changed in New York, but like then like they kind of haven't at the same time. And just like, I found the whole movie like a joke on New York. And I thought it was great. And yeah, I think you definitely have to watch one to understand that this one is a funner movie. If you just watch it standalone, I think you'd be like, this movie is like really stupid and campy. But like, I do agree that it's fun. And I wanted to say no, but it definitely does because I want to watch it again. Like I'm okay with watching it again. Like when I say it doesn't pass the test, I definitely don't want to watch it again. But like this does. Like I have to want. Like I wish I could say I don't want to watch it again, but I want to watch it again. Like I want to watch the toaster scene. I want to watch them saying it's slime time and spraying the freaking Statue of Liberty. And even though that's bad, like so stupid that scene is so ridiculous, there is some sort of like. Yeah, it's the Statue of Liberty, like, yeah. And like when they do look at the plate, it reminded me of like the olden license plates and like how that was a symbol of like New York and just the symbol in the United States. But like, especially like growing up in this area, like seeing that license plate all the time, like it's a good one. I like it. It gets me. So. I mean,
I'm agreeing. I think it passes the nostalgia test. I think it's like a really fun movie, and I think it holds up. It's really funny. I think it's one of those movies that over time got better, and people liked it more over time. I don't think it made a lot of money. I mean, it made over $200 million. I mean, but it made less money than the first one. But you're talking about a sequel to, as a sequel, that's a success. I think it's so much fun. There's so many things we didn't even talk about that are still like, I'm thinking about the woman who said she had a drink with an alien at the Holiday Inn. She was a gem. That woman was Paramus. That woman was amazing. That whole scene, the guy who said that the end of the world was going to happen. That he's another great actor who, the one of the parents in Transformers series as well.
Yeah.
And I just everything about the film itself is just hilarious because the world is just so ridiculous, but it looks so real because the way it's shot in that 80s way, because so like it's in the real world. It's not like they're green screened. Everything else is pumped into it instead of the world around them being pumped into it. So it's kind of interesting to be able to kind of see that, and that makes it a little more enjoyable for me.
It's funny I would say Dan, it's funny. Last thing that you mentioned that it's like in the real world, where because I'm thinking about like the Ghostbusters cartoon and how I love the Ghostbusters cartoon. It was fun. It was fun. But like the thing about that is that you could enjoy like you can like you're in a cartoon, so like you're in a different world where this one was like. We were trying to have fun in a comic book way, cartoonish way, but in the real world. Like there was even like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles original movie feel to this New York.
Oh yeah.
Like this was like the way they shot New York back then. Yeah. It was like, it was gritty.
If like Casey Jones showed up, I would have been.
Dude, if they had a crossover of like the ooze, like the ooze was being made like, the secret of the ooze is really the slime. Like, I mean, it's
too many ideas. We're giving too many ideas away.
You guys got to sell this stuff. You can't. You don't give it away for free.
Dan and I say that we do this all the time. Like we were talking about and I think they are coming out with it, or it's rumored to be coming out as like the prequel to Rocky, where it's Rocky and Apollo when they're younger and they're living two separate lives, training and like, you know, growing up in Philly, and, you know, Apollo growing up where he grew up and like making his way, and like kind of like their life, like Paulie, like why does Rocky love Paulie so much and let Paulie do whatever and stuff. So, and we're like, damn, we're giving this away. And I think they are coming up with like a prequel to that. So
I still watch the cartoon, by the way. So like I have a 6-year-old daughter, and like I'm getting her into this stuff now.
Okay.
And it's funny because they started putting the Ghostbusters YouTube channel will put the episodes out like on Saturday morning, and they'll live stream like a new episode.
Oh man.
So, dude, talk about nostalgia. Like it brings me back to being a kid. Like you got to wake up, and you can't like just on demand, like you watch it. And now it's on demand. So if you go on the YouTube channel, you can watch a whole bunch of the old cartoons. And
that's so cool.
It holds up to me. I mean, it's a whole nother topic for another day, but man, it is, it's a fun cartoon. And I love that growing up. And like the Ninja Turtles one, like it's just, they don't, I hate to sound like an old man, but they just don't make them like they used to, man. They just
I mean, this show is basically two old men complaining that they don't.
That's why I like it so much.
Like we discussed it all the time about how like, the on-demand stuff kind of ruins people's nostalgia, or just like the feeling of like we were just on another podcast discussing on another episode how sometimes it's fun to get all the episodes of a show all at once, but then there is something to the new way of like some shows where they only release them once a week so that the zeitgeist goes slower, like that you can sit and you could talk about it. Like your kids are excited to wake up at Saturday to watch a new episode. Like their kids nowadays don't get that. Like it's just like, oh, I just want to watch this. All right, let's just put it on. And it's like, no, there's something cool about watching it and then Monday talking about it at the water cooler or at school. I'm like, yo, did you see that? No, I didn't get to see it. Oh man, you got to check it out. It was crazy, blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, oh, I can't wait for the next episode. Where like, well, the episode that we were just talking about was Stranger Things. Like Stranger Things is cool, but like there is something, I kind of almost hate that we get all the episodes, because either I got to binge it or else I'm not keeping up.
Right.
And you can go
get spoiled.
Yeah, or you go on Instagram and there's a meme already about it, you know, about the last like the last episode, and you're like, what the hell, you know? So like, that's where kind of that's cool that they're doing that. I like it. That's cool. And then I remember the intro to I could see the intro to that show. Yeah, and it's fun.
Yeah. So. One last piece of trivia before we end.
Okay.
Carpathia was also the name of the ship that rescued the survivors from the Titanic, which appears in the film.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
So people, Ghostbusters 2.
A deep cut there.
Yeah, that's really deep. Holy cow.
So we did it, put it to the test. It passed 3-0. All three passed. I mean, I felt it was going to happen when I was watching it, but this was really fun. Drew, thank you so much for being here for this episode. We had a lot of fun. Why don't you tell everyone again where they can find your podcast, and how they can get in touch with you?
Yeah. Thank you guys. First, thank you guys for having me. Like I've been a fan of you guys, and this is an honor for me to be a part of this, and, you know, just really appreciate it. But, thanks again. And it's just been so fun talking to you guys about Ghostbusters 2. My podcast is The Last Row Podcast. You can check us out, thelastrowpodcast.com. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your shows. Check it out, and give us a subscribe and check it out. And I'll leave you guys with one quote. What I'll say is, death is but a door, time is but a window. I'll be back if you'll have me. So.
Wow, that's awesome.
Well, definitely. I would love to have you.
That's how I to end that. Yeah.
If you guys will have me. But thanks again so much, guys. It's been awesome to talk to you, and really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you. And everyone out there, we'd love to hear your opinions on Ghostbusters 2. Send them to us. You can email us at thenostalgiatest@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Nostalgia Test, Twitter at Nostalgia Test. Like and subscribe everywhere you find where you listen to your podcast, and we'll see you on the next episode, everybody. Peace.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. Please subscribe to the Nostalgia Test podcast to know when new episodes drop. Don't forget to leave us 5 stars and a positive review so more people can find the podcast. Share your thoughts and memories on today's topic on our Twitter at Nostalgia Test and on Instagram at The Nostalgia Test. Tune in next time because you never know what pop culture will pop up on The Nostalgia Test.